flags behind you, everybody. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, it's nice to be back in person and we can see everybody's smiling face. All right, so on to the approval amendment of the agenda meeting items.
Okay, I move to approve the meeting agenda items for April 13th, 2022 regular session board meeting as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the meeting minute agenda items for April 13th, 2022 regular session board meeting as presented. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All three of us, motion carries. Okay, approval of minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of March 9th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the March 9th, 2022 as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Well, we're gonna move right through this stuff tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Mr. Superintendent.
Well, a couple great things. First of all, the Wide Open Spaces Conference, Susan was able to attend that with me this weekend, and it was great. So a lot of good networking going. One of the things that I put in for was a grant for housing for teachers. So that's one of the REN scholarships. I completed that grant yesterday and got it in. First one to get it in because they gave it to us this weekend. So they're going to be rotating. If we don't get it this year, we'll get it next year. We're going to buy a house and put it in our property so we can have it for teachers. Trying to get things. So that's a good thing. Great conference, and we'll give you more details about that sooner. We have the Oregon Small School Association Conference coming up on the 21st and 22nd and everything. Dr. Hartley's coming. I know that our new Jennifer Schwartz is also coming. Our new people we're going to hard tonight. And Hillary's coming, so Miss Holtzman. So that should be great. We have 100 districts being represented. So we're putting it on, so we got a lot of work going on, but it should be fun. So we got some great speakers, and Oregon Department of Ed's coming in with the energy piece. So we have some great speakers going to help just for small schools. We're also going to talk about the reporting requirements that we have coming up next year with the ESDs, hiring that extra person. So we're pretty excited about that.
And it's all in person?
Yeah, all in person. We will have an option if people can't be there, they'll be on, but everyone else is going to be in person. So it'll be great.
Great.
Yeah. And Patty, one of our accounts payable clerk, we got a card from, I've never got this before, from the PERS organization saying we had perfect PERS reporting. And this is like less than 5% of the districts do that. So I wanted to mention Patty did a great job, and Janet. So.
Well, actually, she's had it for like the last 5 years.
I know, but I've never seen it, so I had to let the board know about it, and I called to find out more about it, and they said, this is very rare this happens, they sent us thank you notes, so I wanted to make sure I let everyone know that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got new hires, and Dr. Lloyd Hartley here is with us now, so Dr. Hartley brings a plethora of experience for us right now. He's a special ed and student service director in ALSI and also in online academies, so he's pretty busy. He is going to be able to work out and come in May on Fridays, so he'll be coming back and meeting people in the building and starting setting up some of our special education requirements because we have some deficits we're going to be working to get through. So we're pretty excited about that. So welcome, Dr. Hartley. I know he's already got a house he bought, so we're waiting for that house to close. And
I think we write the check on Friday.
there you go.
Maybe he's the one that's getting driven out of his house.
So we're excited about having him and his wife Sandy and their son coming, and they got a new student at the high school. So Michael's great. So enjoy him. So it's really wonderful. So congratulations. We're excited to have him, his expertise. Jennifer Schwartz is our other person that we're going to be hiring down the road, and Jennifer's going to be at that. Schultz, excuse me, I said Schwartz. Schultz. Anyway, all of us will be at the COSA, so we'll be able to get our teamwork and everything guaranteed. And Jennifer's also going to be working the last part of June to get everything situated. I just put the grant together today, and the board, and I'll be sending it out to them. I already sent it out. I'm sending the second part out. It's for our commitments for that big grant for 5 years. So that would be the part with the wellness piece, and that's how we're paying for that other person.
Funding.
Yeah. Okay, and then summer school, we got that grant, so we're gonna be running those programs around. I asked Ms. Young to be our person of record, so she's gonna help us out with that. So we're excited about that one, and we appreciate her expertise from last year. Ready Safe Learners, we got new stuff from the state yesterday. I'm not going to have the administrators or the board look at it yet. It's not due to August. It's just for COVID if it comes back, but I'll have all that taken care of. And I pretty much did it yesterday while they were talking and telling us about it. So we're gonna be okay with that one. So that's what I have there. I'm gonna make sure that's all I got for that part. Okay,
So is that your good news and
that's your
superintendent?
good news. Do you want me to go to the superintendent report?
Yes.
Okay, superintendent report. I'm learning to separate those two. So, the audit, we had a bid to the ESD and all 5 districts in the county were part of that bid. The auditor that we used last year has, they gave us a great review, and that really surprised Janet and myself, because normally they have 1 or 2 findings, and as a person in finance, you wanna find things and make sure we're doing them right. We found mistakes of our own that we could have done better. It kind of worried us, so we did our homework. There were 4 major violations of our current auditors in the state. It's not good. So I brought that to the ESD's attention. I think they're still gonna go with them, and so the other districts. I asked about our bid. It's $4,000 more than we had paid, than normally paid, but looking at the state, we got a whole list, and Sarah from the ESD, I appreciate her doing her homework, but she went and did the same thing I did and found out that bid is within line everywhere else in the state right now. So we get what we pay for, and we want someone to come in and help us out, especially with all the commingling of the federal funds with ESSER and these new grants. We need to make sure it's done right. So my recommendation to the board next month would be to change our audit. So,
And so as far as the difference, and we can see it next month, but from what it was gonna cost at ESD being in that group versus what it's gonna cost us being outside of that group,
about 24,000.
that's a difference.
And then I met with their partners, and they told us that if it's less, because that's what they don't know yet, because they followed this particular audit a couple districts and other municipalities, and they feel they might have a lot more work to do to correct things. So they weren't gonna give us a price change.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with that, but I wanted to make sure you're aware of that.
So with the next one, are they gonna go ahead and hold to what the contract says and actually come in person?
They'll be in person.
Versus what
At
they've done in
least
the last
once.
couple of years.
Yeah,
Well,
that was kind of the requirement of part of that
'Cause that was
RFP.
the contract stuff that you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, that
Well, and the timeliness of the
frustrating.
last process was not very good.
No, and then the
Not at
last one
all.
was due the 31st, and we didn't get it till almost 4 o'clock on the 31st. And by that time, we can't even review it, and I didn't sign it, so I'll let it go forward, but there's nothing I'm gonna approve. It's not my problem. It is our problem ultimately, but I'm not gonna sign something unless I have a chance to read it.
Right.
So that's where I'm at with that. The ESD, I met with Lane, the future superintendent of the ESD, once. We've had 3 meetings scheduled. He's had to cancel those. I'm hoping to meet with him soon so we can understand why the audit is one of our concerns. And also we have a lot of concerns with the ESD and services, how we can partner better. So hopefully that meeting will go well and we'll continue going forward with that. So that is what I have. Madam Chairman, is there any questions from the board?
I don't have any.
Okay, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'm guessing we don't have any public comment. 'cause
No
I
public
didn't hear
comment.
about it. So then we can move into reports. So let's see, who wants to go first?
I guess I will.
Oh, you're hiding by,
I'm hiding,
I was
hello.
looking for you on the TV, I'm like, where is she?
Okay, so the most exciting thing I have today is that we received notification that we passed our accreditation and we're officially accredited for a 6-year term. So I'm super excited. 6 years, I don't have to worry about it.
Madam Chairman,
You're
that's very
excited.
unusual for a first year principal to have to do all that. So she had worked many hours and her staff did, and the team did a really good job, but that's amazing.
Yeah, we put a lot of hard work
Without
into it.
findings. Normally they give you, yeah.
Yeah. Tonight we have our Honor Society induction at 7 p.m. We have 17 new students that will be inducted into the Honor Society this year. We're currently working on our student and staff handbooks, updating both of those to be presented at our next board meeting.
Staffing for next year, we're currently working on setting up some interviews for our open positions. So far, we have interviews for English and our special education paraprofessional this week. And then next week, we have an interview for one of our science positions. So we're excited about that. Our staff this week and next week, we're doing some staff peer observations. So teachers are visiting each other's classrooms to get new ideas and or provide feedback to each other to help them with their classroom. And I just feel like it's a great opportunity for professional learning and collaboration, and I'm excited to see how it turns out for our first try. I attended a couple of virtual career fairs last Friday. One was the Southern Oregon University Educator Fair, and the other was the Idaho Teacher Career Fair. And I had the opportunity to represent our school district and meet with a few teacher candidates. And obviously, the virtual wasn't as effective, in my opinion, as going to an in-person career fair, but it was still a good experience to be able to attend. Next Monday, April 18th at 6:30 p.m., we have our senior versus staff basketball game. It's an annual thing. It's going to be in the LHS gym. Come out and support our students and staff. And how many years in a row has the staff won?
I don't know for sure. It's been a while.
Many
I feel
years.
like there was a little bit of
It's
smack
part of their
talking.
job description.
Was there something about whippersnappers or old codgers in the
Something like
announcements today?
So we're going to defend our title. And then again, the Oregon Small Schools Conference next week. I'll be attending with Mr. Carter and Mr. Hartley, I believe you said. And this is my first conference like this, and I'm really excited to network and to learn. That's pretty much it.
Great.
Any questions?
So it looks like we have Mrs. Warner and Mr. Counts.
I'll go ahead and let Mr. Counts have the night off. It is so great to see the boardroom put back together, like it has been in the past, and see young people in there. That's really wonderful. It's been a long haul with COVID. Tonight, I wanted to just give you a quick update. Our enrollment is fairly steady. We have 327 at Fremont Hay and 44 at Union, so for a total of 371 students. I wanted to visit with you a little bit about the Union Carnival. Had an amazing turnout, and I don't know exactly how they came out as far as money, but there was a great crowd, especially for a hiatus with COVID, and it was a ton of fun. Our reading and math consultants are here one more time this year. Our math consultant is here currently working with young teachers and helping our seasoned teachers with a few things here and there. Our reading consultant will be here in May, first part of May, and we have decided on a new reading curriculum as of today that we'll be bringing to you guys. And the reading consultant will be helping us with what products we want to order and exactly how to utilize this new reading adoption the best we can. We also have been doing some interviewing. I wanted to shout out to Mr. Carter, who went to WOU Live for us and did the career fair. We appreciate that. We did get quite a few. We did 5 interviews over conferences virtually with new kids coming out of WOU, and so they'll be coming this way for interviews as we get that done. I did hire one teacher, elementary teacher, over spring break, and then we have 2 local folks interviewing with us tomorrow. We are working on summer school planning. We plan to serve somewhere between 175 and 200 students. Last year we were right around 180 for the amount of students that we serve for a 3-week session in June and then a 2-week session in August right before we go back. And that summer school will coincide with our incoming kindergarten camp for 2 weeks. We'll have 8 grade levels going in August right before school starts. Mrs. Davis had her kids performing at Irish Days. I wasn't there, but I heard that it went very well. And then our 6th graders competed in a speech contest that had to do with agricultural topics. And that was hosted in partnership with our 6th grade teachers and Lake County Cattle Women's. And they came in and helped with the contest. It was a pretty cool opportunity for our kids. They had to research an ag topic of their choice and then give a speech. And it might help our ag teacher as well feed that program with electives for 7th grade, getting a little taste of that. Our Union Garden Club, our Westside Parents Club partner with 4-H to do a Union Gardening Club. and that is up and going. They had one of their first meetings this week, I believe, even though it's snowing. They did some indoor activities. We are working on handbooks and also getting that registration process to our software company, LBL, so that that can get finalized and be ready to go before our kindergarten roundups in May. We try and have registration pretty well finalized for that, so our kindergarten parents can register at that time. I went to the Wide Open Spaces conference Sunday and Monday of this week, and it was really a good experience for me. I got to network with some other administrators that have some of the same concerns that I have in a rural school district, and it was good. There were good speakers, and it was nice to be around some of those folks. I've already emailed a couple of those people from that conference. I wanted to give you guys just a couple calendar events that you might be interested in. We do have PBIS assemblies on April 29th in all of our schools. Teacher Appreciation Week is May 2nd through the 6th. And we will be having a spring concert May 4th at Union at 10 o'clock. We will also be doing Kinder Roundup May 17th and 19th if you have a Kinder that's interested. Our Kinder numbers are looking pretty high right now, but please send any of those folks that have kindergarten eligible kids our way so we get a good count for them. We're bringing back Ag Awareness Day with the FFA kids and classes on May 26th, and that will be all grades K through 6 going up through high school and learning more about agriculture. We tentatively have a plan for our graduates. We're going to bring back our graduate walkthrough that we do at the elementary school. Ms. Pulsman and Mr. Rose and I have kind of talked, and we'll have those graduates after they get done with practice come down to the elementary school and they walk through our halls. And I think that's about it as far as things coming up. Do you have any questions?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rose.
Thank you. Okay, just like at the elementary, we are reviewing our staff and student handbooks. Ms. Holzman has been leading a good charge on that one. We've got a good little team now for our student handbooks. Have a lot of discussion about some specific topics that we normally do year in and year out, but we had some good feedback today. We had conferences, recently, and those went pretty well. We had good turnouts in the building. We kept had teachers in the gym, in the cafeteria, in the library, and had dinner together, and that went pretty well. And like Ms. Holzman said, we're pretty excited about some of the prospects we have for our staff positions. I'm going to tag on there with the spring concert. Hours at the high school and middle school is May 24th. We've had to move that a couple of times due to a busy month of May with all of the athletic activities, with playoffs, and with all of the senior activities. If any of the board members would like a calendar of the senior luncheons and breakfasts, let us know, please, and we can get that to you. Recently, I attended the OADA conference for athletic directors, and just returned last night, actually. It was a real good opportunity to do some networking. Just like the Open Spaces conference, and I got a chance to meet with people from 6A all the way down to 1A and hear about all of their challenges, what they're going through, and the things that we have in common in our different schools. One of those big ones was a shortage of officials statewide, and so that's a real big concern for athletic directors and for OSAA. And everyone's trying to brainstorm ways to build up those ranks because, frankly, we've had several games canceled already because we can't get umpires, for example, or referees or officials. I spent quite a bit of time with our new league. Next year we're moving back into a league that we were in the past with many of those same schools and some new schools. And we're hammering out some more schedules and our SOPs. Make sure that we are treating all the schools fairly and giving a fair opportunity for everybody, and making it as best possible we can for teams to qualify for district playoffs and have a shot at state playoffs. Let's see, this week, due to the weather, we've had a lot of teams, a lot of coaches at the youth program level asking us for some indoor space. And so hopefully with this melting off on the grass, at least some teams will be outside, but I think we have snow forecasted the rest of the week. It's just crazy. For the academy, conferences were pretty sparse. We talked with more on the phone than we saw in person. And we're in the process of writing some requirements, some stricter requirements in our handbooks for students to move to the online platform. Sometimes, with COVID, we were required to provide that online option. But at this point, we'd like to have a little bit more control over when students are approved, so to speak, to move to the online option, and then what happens when they're unsuccessful, if our supports aren't able to provide them what they need to be successful, how we get them back in person. Any questions?
Nope, thank you.
So, Madam Chairman, I want to add that really pleased with the conferences all the way through. Union had 100% attendance, and ADA and them had over 90%. So, really well done.
And alternative education had 15 out of 17.
I know that was amazing. I didn't know, but I know it was close to 95%. That's great.
See, I usually fail
Corey?
there as a parent.
Sorry about that. I didn't get a chance to tell Hillary congrats, so I wanted to tell her congrats. Way to go.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, on to the fun stuff. I'm ready.
Well, it's nice to see you guys all in person instead of on the screen. So that's been a highlight to my day today. Anyway, so where we are sitting, we're looking at the month end of February. So month to date revenues, we're under what we planned to be at the end of February by $52,000. And our expenditures for the month of February is over planned by about $59,000, almost $60,000. Our year to date forecast, though, we're relatively close. Overall, we're looking revenues as only being down by about $36,000. Our taxes is the huge contributor there. The income, or not the income taxes. Property taxes. By the way, y'all should probably file your taxes this week. So, anyway, we're down about $240,000 in those taxes for collection, and then our state sources, which we've talked about this, I think the last couple of months about we lowered that ADM so that we didn't take such a huge hit in our true up in next May for this year. Federal forest fees, we did receive that in July of last year, July of 21. I have not heard any scuttlebutt as far as if we're going to get them in June like normal, or if it's going to roll to the next year. So that's kind of up in the air still. And as far as expenditures are going, we're higher than what we normally should be, which is, or what we plan to be, by about $342,000. Salaries and benefits is where that really sits. Mr. Carter's done a great job with, increasing, trying to get more pay for certified, classified, all across the board. Plus, we've hired extras. We've hired more. Not really necessarily extras, probably well needed is what I should say. And so that's taken a big toll. Now, I am working currently on next 22-23 budget, but I'm also working on that supplemental budget, which I found right now I'm knee deep into the general fund. And so there's going to be quite a few changes in there for 21-22. Some up, some down. We'll see what we get at the end as to where that might end up. But remember, SIA was a lot larger than we anticipated. They changed that number to roughly 600,000 versus 400. And then, of course, all those ESSER funds came into play, which the one grant alone is $1.6 million. So,
Gotta figure out how we can use that in
Yep.
certain spots.
I'm very talented at spending money, Madam Chairman.
We got this little
Well,
downward tick here.
So we've had several discussions, and I'm just going to skip right to that. This is mainly in our general fund, but the more that we are looking at this is a cash flow problem for us more so than anything. And where this is kind of stemming from is ODE and it is backed up in their procurement. And so they are not loading our grants, some of our grants. And we cannot get access to them. So what we are out cash.
In the general fund that
Because-
should get replaced.
Right. So we're scrambling around. The SIA, we will see a little bit of relief from the SIA because we just now hit 50% and they are
So
in.
now we can draw down.
Yeah, they make us draw down in increments of 25, 50, and 75. Now, you guys all know me well enough. If I have not spent it, I do not want to draw it down because that means I have to pay it back. So, but we were looking at the end of March, I will have that 50% and I can make that draw. So the bad part is we have to spend all of SIA also. So that's it, since we're sitting in April now.
I might be freezing spendings where we're getting to,
Right.
just because I can't make payroll in June unless we get this money back.
Which is huge. June is our big one.
Because
pay
we wind
out
up
all of
paying
our
teachers all the
contracts.
Right,
contracts.
they get all their summer money.
So that's why, I'm looking at it and I've already told the principals I may have to spend free spendings, not because we're over, it's just that the bottom line is we don't have the money to,
Right.
do we get reimbursed from the state?
And I know that Mr. Carter's been making noise with ODE. I've been making noise with them. Hey, you guys gotta get it loaded. Some of us aren't, we don't have a slush fund, to run with. So most of this is that cash flow problem, and that we're having. The other piece of this puzzle is going to be the enrollment, yes, and then also the new budget for 21-22 that we'll put in place. No, the 21, the supplemental, yeah.
Supplemental.
Yeah. So that's also gonna play in because you're looking at March, April, and May and June is an estimate off of old 21-22,
We're
essentially.
18 months
Okay.
behind.
If that makes sense to you.
So what's the timing of that supplemental?
Oh, I'm working on it currently.
But by
So, like,
by
next
next month,
month?
we'll have it for you.
I hope to have it by next month.
It'd be nice to get the supplemental one done before we start the next one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was trying to get it in place so that we knew where to sit for the next 22-23, because some of that is gonna affect 22-23, obviously.
Bottom line, we still
General
have to-
fund, ESSER, all of those funds that roll over will affect what we do in 22-23. So there is that piece of that puzzle also. So yeah, when it rains, it pours, you gotta do it all at once. So now the other piece that I did wanna bring up, and I just got this and shared it with Mr. Carter right before we walked in here. We did have our true up for 2020-21 based on our audit, and we actually owe back to state school fund $116,733. So what will happen in the month of May is they will net that out with our May payment, which our May payment was already being reduced anyway. So we will only get state school fund of about $122,600 in May. And then again, in June, we don't get any state school fund at all, but then in July, we double, so.
And for our new board member stuff, this is because of the enrollment we project and that we want down 70 kids, so that's what's happening. So the
Yeah.
state goes back and trues it up, and that's why it's an estimate with the budget.
Any questions? I kind of went rogue there.
You totally.
Throwing y'all off.
Well, you're right, Madam Chairman, we need to get supplemental if we can first, so that way we can have the
Right.
baseline for our budget.
Well, yeah, it's hard to do the budget based on,
What ifs?
when we haven't got the
Yep.
what ifs taken care of and updated.
We agree with
Uh,
that.
And it doesn't take as long to do a supplemental
Right,
versus your full meal deal budget, although there is quite a bit to that supplemental that's gonna take place.
well, there's a lot of funds moving around.
Everything has moved around.
Right.
And some I don't even know about. No, feels like it.
Okay, Janet.
It really does feel like, where'd that come
Well, and
from?
as far as with the state being slow with funding their grants that they've
It's-
committed to,
Mhm.
is there any answer out of them as to if they're getting caught up or if they think they're.
Couple.
I haven't seen
We
it.
Call
got
someone who
one email that was
cares,
sent to me, and it stated that one particular part of our state government has not got reimbursed in a year and 2 months, so 14 months. And we can't operate like that, so. So they said they're working on it, they're hiring a lot of people.
Yeah.
So we made a lot of noise the other day, so.
And I don't think that they're back in their office again still.
No, not yet, and we're meeting with them, we have ODE coming to small schools, so we'll have a captive audience with all the superintendents.
Next week.
Working next week.
Well, because I would think that we're certainly not the only school that's in this same situation.
When I was at the conference this weekend, same thing, there were 4 superintendents there that talked from the same boat. And the same thing people say, well, you can use ESSER money, you can't commingle it, so we're stuck. So people don't understand that, you can have a separate SAG means account, but you can't touch it, so.
Right.
And the ESSER 3 is actually limited to what we can
But we
spend
can't
on,
spend it.
so you can't even.
But we have to explain that to everybody, and they say, well, you got that money, but you can't use it.
Yeah, you just can't unfortunately use it for what you think might be the best use.
Exactly.
Okay. Enlightening.
Right?
We better turn the power off.
Not today, it'll be a little cold.
Okay. All right, so we got through that. And district inventory.
So Madam Chairman, what I did on this was going through some of the best practices and organizations. One of the things they do is they have someone who is trusted in the district, you send them out and they do an inventory with each department. And they have
Okay.
set questions and formats, and then they come back with things that people might not feel comfortable sharing in an open session, but they're able to give, and then they get commonalities, and you come back and get a summary. And that gives the board some input from outside, from coming in, and then it also helps the administrative team get some great feedback. So we had our first one, and the first one was with our kitchen staff from all the buildings. And we send Ms. Gerber out to do these, so I just want to introduce it, that's how this comes about.
Okay.
So this will be our first one.
Yep, so, yes, I had recently I had my evaluation with Mr. Carter, and he assigned me with yet another new task, called district inventory. And he would like to see me get out into the district a lot more, and this has nothing to do with materialistic items throughout the district, it has to do with you guys. And this is to gather a sense of how you are feeling within your positions. So twice a month, we're hoping I will visit different departments at one at a time for up to an hour or 2 hours to discuss several different topics. He and I came up with and developed 3 questions that will be asked, and 3 for the classified departments, and then 4 for the certified. The reason why there will be a 4th is because certified will gain a PDU from these sessions. That will obviously help with your license requirements, and then also go towards the Student Investment Act. So first of all, the first,
Tanny.
yes,
PDU is like a
PDU is a professional development unit.
Okay.
And
That's what I
Everybody
was
has that.
thinking.
Yep, and you have to have those in order to be able to renew your licensure.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so like Mr. Carter said, my first one was with the kitchen department, and I loved it. We all met at the LHS cafeteria, and it actually lasted 1 hour and 22 minutes. And I wasn't anticipating that. Like when he asked me to block this out for up to 2 hours, I was like, and it really did last, and it could have probably lasted longer. So anyway, question number 1. Tell me something that you believe is going great in your department. What would you like to share with the board of directors, superintendent, and the admin team? So first of all, they gave me numbers, which you guys appreciate. Union serves 70 plus meals a day. Fremont Hay serves 365 plus meals a day. And LHSDMS serve 400 plus meals a day. That's a lot of food going out for our kiddos every single day by
does
these
that
5
pick up
ladies.
their morning and
That's breakfast.
Snack,
So Union is breakfast and lunches. Fremont's breakfast and lunches, and quirky little Rebecca and Teresa over there at LHSDMS are breakfast, last chance breakfast, and lunches. So pretty cool. Okay, in this section also, each kitchen lady said that getting to know their kids on an individual basis is by far the very best part of their job. Then having student helpers. In fact, both Union and Hay Kitchen said that they could not do their jobs without their student helpers. Rebecca and Teresa actually asked if they could please have student helpers. Elementary kitchens like to include students with their meal planning. They have noticed that if the students are a part of that, which they enjoy being a part of it, that food goes over for all students way better and there's much less waste. All the kitchen ladies complimented Quinn and his team and Roger and his team. However, they went above and beyond with compliments for Travis Dillaboo. They said that he is literally their go-to man, and he maintains all of their equipment, drops everything he's doing. If their oven goes out, if something happens, whatever, he's right there. So that was pretty nice to hear that.
I think they give them extra food, but that's just my.
And they might.
They might be driving it.
Yep. And then lastly, this was very sweet and just how they are. Lastly, for this section real quick, I'm trying to hurry. They said that they depend on one another 100%. And they're so thankful to have each other, and they're traveling through the district all the time to help each other out. If they're out of something, we're having struggles and have been with food deliveries. They'll have a lunch menu planned. Kiddos and parents and teachers alike are set on those menus, and they don't even get the proper order. So Rebecca will be pulling for Amy and vice versa. And then that's where our maintenance guys also come in and custodial crews too, to whatever load might need to get to the LHS cafeteria, it happens. So it just really does prove that it takes a team to make all this happen. So the next question is, tell me any concerns that you have, that you may have in regard to your department. They feel that they are not, this is awesome. It really is. They feel that they are not able to provide healthier meal options due to the lack of storage space, such as refrigerators, freezers, and pantries. Now, I'm not saying it's awesome that they're lacking those things, but it's just so awesome that that's how much they care about giving our kiddos really good food. So another one is each kitchen could use upgraded equipment such as food warming units and new ovens. And then other concerns were also mentioned, but when I approached Mr. Carter and some of the admin with this first, those were just system issues that we could fix internally and not have to bring to even share with you guys, because just knowing about it, we could take it to the appropriate person, such as Quinn, and problem resolved. So that was pretty cool too. Third question, do you have any suggestions or solutions for any of these concerns that you feel the board of directors, superintendent, or admin team should know about to help make those changes? So instead of rattling all those, because these ladies were full of not just letting me know concerns, but full of solutions. So basically I just summarized, and overall, what I gathered from this department is that each of these staff members are so grateful, and they were willing to share so many positive points and positive possible solutions. They understand the budget, and they realize how expensive things are. They are very hopeful to someday see some new equipment upgrades, heating and cooling upgrades, and possible extra storage. These ladies are some of the most creative staff members that I've ever known. They are the ones that can take a lemon and truly make lemonade. They absolutely love their kids, and they refer to them as their kids. And they recognize students who may just need a little extra, whether it be food, snack, an ear, a shoulder, a hug, or some advice. At the end of our session, go figure, they just wanted to thank their building principals and the district office staff for making their workplace a great place. So I don't know, I believe that they make our workplace a great place. So I could not have enjoyed this more, and I really do see the benefits of what this might do. And I'm just glad that this is my new assignment. And my next session will be this upcoming Monday with the maintenance team. So yeah.
Great.
Do you guys have any? Oh, and that fourth question that you guys will hear for certified is, in your department, what do you feel is working best and most successful for students? And that's where it will play in with the Student Investment Act, SIA.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess, the one thing, and I know that Mr. Carter's fabulous at this grant writing business.
Mm-hmm.
She loves it. Janet hides it from me now.
Maybe we need to search out a grant for some kitchen upgrades. There's got to be
We
something.
just put one
out
in for the washer. We're looking for kitchen. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make that part of my assignment.
There's got to be something out there then.
Well, and just like the ladies down at the 80 Hay, they have 2 ovens in their area, but one of them does not work at all. And so it's just a wasted space. So they're working out of one oven to make all of that, whatever it was, 365 plus meals a day, one oven. And what they actually asked for is if that one oven could be jerked out and somehow get a warming unit where they would make their cookie sheets of trays or whatever, pop those in the warming unit and rotate. Yeah. So
So what does the board think of the process? I know it's new, but one thing, is this the kind of questions you would want us to ask? I mean, we're just.
Well, I
doing
think
what
it's
research.
good to get somebody out there, that can visit with the different staff members and, kind of see how things are going. What's good, what's bad,
And
what do we need to address?
I like it because after being in conferences, it's weird being a school board member now, when you go in there because you hear things and people pull you aside and visit with you. And I know that was one of the big things is they were talking about the cafeteria stuff and some of the problems that they are having. So hearing it that we're looking into this, it's a good thing because I know that'll help that staff out, the teachers, the staff down there that, they're wanting the best for the students as well as the cooks are.
Yeah.
Well, and even if you don't have a resolution to acknowledge that, we know this is an issue and we'll see if we can come up with it. We're not just ignoring you.
yeah, and that's what they even said that during the meeting. We're going to tell you a lot, but we know that it's not going to all happen, but at least we're being heard and getting it out there. And I just feel like if nobody's ever out there and we all kind of get in our own little islands throughout the district, you know what's wrong, but you don't ever get it out there. So I just think that this is maybe a bridge to all the different buildings.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Like it? Okay. Ms. Bunn, do you like it? You're good with it?
I do like it. I think there might be something as far as energy efficiency, maybe, because we have a lot of dinosaurs in there. It seems like that might be a target area for some money.
No.
The green.
It's a good idea. I'll bring it up at the meeting with the energy people on the conference. Okay.
and we still have some, 11:49.
We have 11:49 Monday too. Okay. That's good. Okay, I got my homework. Thank you all.
We need a new oven down there. How much does a new oven cost? I mean, if it's
Well,
gonna,
We did order one for Union, but it's about 8,000.
is it,
I don't know how big it is, but I know it's a large,
For that,
but,
but the one here is more like 20.
yeah.
We'll get on it. Because we want to take care of them. And it helps our
Thank you,
kids. It
Judy.
helps our students.
You're welcome, Annie.
And I don't remember when we went down, we as a board went down and looked at the kitchen at Union, or at 80 Hay.
6 years ago.
No.
It was 6 years ago what the report said, but I don't know.
Oh,
Was that you?
that must have been right when I.
No, it wasn't 6 years ago. It was when we were discussing the bond and we
Oh, the
saw
bond,
leaky
okay.
roofs.
It was like a
and we
couple
did a
years.
tour of the DMS.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's probably like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Everybody lost a couple.
it
Oh,
seems
that
like
was-
6 years ago, but I think it was only maybe two and a
Okay.
half.
Well, I'll look on that and see what else you guys got. It'd be great. So I was looking at Will's notes. They said they did that for the bond thing about 6 years ago when they first started.
I know these kitchens haven't changed since I was a kid in school 30 years ago. So.
I think that one oven was there when we were in
Yeah, I'm
school.
pretty sure.
All right.
And I'm way older than you.
All right, we'll get on it. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Tandy.
Mm-hmm.
So, old business, onto this calendar, which everyone loves. So do we have any calendar comments?
Well, we had a lot of comments. I've learned that we are not gonna have school the Thursday before the rodeo, so.
No, we're not.
I just wanted to tell you that. I just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you.
I'm an old horse, but you beat me up enough, I realize what that is, so we will not, so there's my comment, Madam Chairman. But I've learned a lot, and we've got all the days in there and all
Miss
the.
Al?
We worked really hard on it. Mr. Carter wanted us to work 192 days, so I got that fixed for the certified. And so I'm excited personally, and the people I've talked to about the full week off of Thanksgiving. We're getting our paid conference makeup day on that Monday, so that's a nice incentive for a full week off. We start a little earlier, I think, than normal for in-service, but I mean, it's needed, and it's nice to not have to work on that
Well,
Friday.
those in-service
Thursday.
days are better than having to be in school and work during fair days.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're staying late in June. Well, and I guess my only thing, and I don't really have a dog in this fight, so I'm not gonna get too wound up about it, but as a parent, I don't like the full week at Christmas, and I don't all that time not at Christmas, the full week at Thanksgiving, and all that time at Christmas. I would rather get out 4 or 5 days earlier in June. But I'm past that being my problem.
Can I say something? So that is what the teacher said as well for Thanksgiving. They would have rather had kids. But attendance, it was kind of the issue. It's better money-wise district for the district to have more kids here. And so for them to not have those kids, we're like 60% attendance on those 2 days. It's kind of hurting us more than it is
It was killing us with food too. The other thing, right now, the kitchen can plan and there's no spoilage. Because right now they have to plan for 80% attendance because they don't show up with no food. So then what happens, we wind up throwing it away.
Well, and then to me, and just me, the having to come back as a teacher for like that Monday, I kind of feel like, isn't everybody gonna just go, oh, really? I gotta
We
go
got a
one
lot of
more
professionals.
day.
I don't think we're gonna have that.
So that's just my take on it, but if the teachers are happy with it
And classified.
And classified.
and the classified are happy with it, I don't have a dog in this fight anymore.
Okay.
I've been the squeaky
So is that
wheel
a
for
motion?
years.
Is that a motion, Madam Chairman?
So I would entertain a motion. Anybody else have any non-constructive complaints?
Maybe as a parent I do, but not as a board member. But- Yeah, so I move to approve the proposal to convert hold it, wrong one,
What are we doing?
Calendar. number
calendar. I move to approve the 2022-23 instructional calendar as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the 2022-23 instructional calendar as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Motion carries.
So now the best part of the meeting, Madam Chairman.
All right, I've been waiting for this, and I got all this colored
Yes, ma'am.
printed
I
stuff.
thought this was really great. Go ahead.
All right, new business.
Speaking of money,
Great, grant money. Welcome to grant money.
it's spent on the kids, so it might be easy to spend. I've been working with middle school student council, all of them together, but we have 3 here to present today on a student recreation center on the 3rd story of DMS. I don't have my PowerPoint. Is there any way to pull it up?
It's all yours here.
Like, we can pass it around.
You have a computer.
Okay. So the idea is to convert the 3rd story DMS into a student rec center used for a variety of reasons. So we have some kids who have gaps between sports. We could potentially look at using it for 6th up, a place for students to go if they don't have internet at home to do schoolwork. And the kids will cover those different spaces. So for the study and tutor center, Jesus is going to present for us. The game area, Bronson will present for us. Reading and relaxation, Elise will present for us, and as well as they covered what they have envisioned the management of this space being as well. So, a little bit. Oh, it's front and back. Just kidding. It's okay. I got this. Front and back.
Do you wanna look at this?
Oh.
Yeah, you can have a computer phone.
I really don't need it. You can probably work that goofy little mouse better than I can. I gotta have the old school real mouse.
Okay, there you go, Jesus.
Okay. Right there.
Either way.
Okay. For the study and tutor center, we decided to use the northeast classroom for a quiet workspace and use the annex space next to it for tutoring or study groups who need to talk quietly. Tutors can be volunteers, high school students who are experts in the subject, and or college students. The needs for this would be a whiteboard, circle tables, cameras for supervision, internet, seating areas such as chairs, couches, or beanbags. What we want are 2 desktop computers, tutors, pencils, markers, pencil sharpeners, and colored pencils. Decorations would also be nice, and also posters, a rug, string lights, and headphones.
For our game area, and the biggest part.
Let Jesus go over the design.
Oh.
Front and back.
The design for it would be that circle table for the tutors to help them. The couch is for people to do their homework. The whiteboard is for tutors to kind of like help them. And the beanbag is to sit down.
For our game area, in the biggest part of the area, we would like to have a basketball hoop with a half court and a volleyball net that can be taken down at any time. Example, the high school gym.
The ceiling's big enough, you guys.
These are our big dreamers right here.
Our needs would be an adult supervisor and cameras. Our wants, hoop shoot, volleyball net, beanbags, cornhole, and a television.
I wanted to intersect real quick as the voice of reason also. If we can't get a half court, we are okay with, some air hockey and some cornhole and a place to have some recreation and hangout space.
Well, and maybe you have to start a little bit smaller with the idea this is what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So for the basketball court, we want a hoop shoot and a basketball court, but like Chalice said, if there's not enough space, we're fine with air hockey. And then volleyball net would be great too. Also, I'm an athlete myself. I love doing things with anything related to sports. And a beanbag, so maybe you can watch people play.
Okay, so this is not my section. My section's management, but the person that was supposed to come today got lost and could not find the
District office.
It happens to me all the time.
You even work here.
I don't. Go ahead, you got it.
Okay. This place of relaxation and the place where you can hang out. Let's dive in and get to know some of the things the kids will be using the space and will be able to do. So some things that we would like to have is TV, phone charging station, and or Chromebook charging station, blankets, and pillows. And what we would probably need is a couch, beanbag chairs, and a hangout. And a hanging chair. Those are super cool. If you don't know what those are, they're so cool. We don't have one on here. But we were just thinking nice, easy, settling room with calm, probably quiet zone where kids couldn't be as loud as normal. Sometimes they do get a little loud. We all know that when you're trying to work and people are loud. Yeah. And then something else that we would like to talk about is management. Management here, we would like to have somebody here and probably between the hours of 3 to 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon of every day. I don't know if that might change on Wednesdays.
Be nice
because
if
of the early
Wednesdays
release.
started an hour earlier.
Yeah.
'Cause especially when kids are in sports, there's that hour just for them
Place to go.
to not do anything productive.
Yeah. But if we did have this area, they could be productive. They could do homework instead of hanging out in the locker room as kids do. And what we need is a supervisor, internet, desks, tables, and chairs. And what we'd want is student internet access on our mobile devices so that if they have another option, if they're Googling something off their Chromebook, or if they want to play a game, maybe watch a TV show while they're waiting, they can. And a whiteboard tutor table.
You go ahead to that and then we'll go over the visualizing and ask for questions.
Okay. And we visualize the space as some sort of desk with a tutor is able to get around it. Probably not with the circle in the middle. We did not choose this. We tried to change it, but that didn't go through. But something where the tutor could get in and help multiple people at a time. And the tutors could be students, college people that excel in that certain area, or teachers if you might. It's kind of up to you guys on that one.
So a horseshoe table might work well.
Yeah, that's what we tried to
Yeah.
change the picture to.
Yeah, we tried to change it, but I guess it didn't
No,
go
it's good.
through.
You got it.
And thank you guys for listening. Does anyone have any questions about this?
So have you guys put together a budget?
This is just the pitch.
Okay, we haven't got
So-
that deep yet.
Yeah, this
Okay,
is just the pitch.
I'm excited about this.
And there's gotta be a grant out there somewhere.
There's no doubt already in the works, a grant.
Think
This
of it
is how
like
we
a pitch
operate.
deck, okay?
I think this is a fabulous idea. I like the idea of having a place for kids to go after school and hang out a little bit. Like on Wednesdays especially, a place they could get some extra help. Not to mention that it's just wasted space that makes people crazy.
And the kids went up there. We took 2 tours to then
Oh,
really
yes.
pick out the spaces of what would work. And there's still 2 extra spaces that could still be used. There's already plumbing for 2 bathrooms, boys and girls restrooms. So if we wanted to move forward, then we'd have to have some serious talks about budget and what we'd really want. But right now we weren't sure where it would go, so I said to focus on getting the idea out there.
Is there any fire suppression stuff in there?
There is.
Okay, I
There
thought
is.
there was from when we spent all that money long time
Mr.
ago.
Hubble and I walked through it here last year. So, but I like this is because the students have designed it. I think it's a need, so the board gives us the approval for the concept. I'll ask Chalice and Ms. Young and the team to meet with me, and I'll come up with their classroom, and we can sit down and pencil some stuff out, and then look at some options to bring back to the board, for a budget. And I think what you said, Madam Chairman, is that if we start increments, we might not get to the basketball the first year, but it could be something to shoot for.
Yeah.
Well, and
No pun intended.
And I think, some of this stuff, I think you could probably pretty easily get some different things donated.
You would, and I think we
like
could say a room sponsor.
Cornhole
Yeah.
boards and,
Yeah.
Have the shop built before.
oh, good idea.
Makes sense.
do that.
You got those type of
Tools.
tools right there. You got the wet metal shop, you got the, when I was in high school, we used to do a lot of different projects for the different functions. I mean, we built the dugouts down here, more of the baseball field through the shop class or construction side of it. Tap into the resources we have.
Maybe the art kids can make you some pictures, do some decorating.
That would be cool. And I feel like this would be a great environment for kids to be. It's like a healthier environment than some of the other things that they could do. If you get what I mean?
Walking uptown.
Yep.
I agree with you, Elise. I think it's a great idea, and it's possible that Seroptimus or even Rotary might donate a little bit of money too.
This would be a project for
And
us.
give some money out there.
Yeah.
I think a lot of community programs would support kids trying to choose an alternative option to spend their time. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you for your time, guys. Yeah.
Nice
Great
job.
job, thank you.
Another idea I had is we could have another lunch spot for Miss Holzman.
A what?
Another lunch spot up there.
Oh, geez.
You guys could herd us all up there.
For middle school lunch.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Boys, you're good.
You all stick around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I can do it.
Okay.
I was gonna let you give one.
Let me just grab it here. I move to approve the proposal to convert the DMS third floor to the Student Recreation Center as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the proposal to convert the DMS third floor to the Student Rec Center as presented. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That's a great idea. Okay. On to the ag program.
Okay, so we are making adjustments this next school year in our CT department, and specifically, I'm gonna be discussing about our ag department, and so Danae is actually passing around a packet of the upgraded PowerPoint, because I made a couple of more changes. And so, overall, with our program description, it's basically based on ag science systems, where classes provide hands-on activities, projects, and problems. Students will be able to study communication, the science of agriculture, plants, animals, natural resources, and ag mechanics. So while surveying these type of opportunities available in agriculture, students will be able to solve problems, conduct research, analyze data, work in teams, and take responsibility for their own work, actions, and learning. And so the next page, currently this is what our course pathways look like. And so we have our plant systems, which is what Danae covers, and so that is the horticulture. And then we have ag mechanics class, we have our work program, we have our traditional ag courses, which is ag 1, 2, 3, 4. We have veterinary science, equine science, our 2 welding classes, and small engines. And so that is what our framework is currently. And so the next page is just the different type of topics, unit topics or course topics under each courses. So just specifically with me is what I'm looking at because my classes that I teach will change drastically this next year. And so as we can see under Ag 2 is kind of like one of the big deals of why I'm changing how things are is because of the progression. And so there's not a huge progression in our Ag 2 and above classes because half the year is ag science and half the year is welding. So students are only getting a tidbit of those different course topics and not really getting that in-depth learning or meaningful experiences that they need to experience. So like Ag 2, I'm jumping from soil science to public speaking, ag sales, meats, and then welding. So it's kind of all over the place. It's not really all connecting together. And so right below that is what we're going to be framing our courses. And so instead of it being based on their year in school, it's going to be based on their year in ag. And so horticulture will stay the same. However, our middle school classes, we're going to be rewording them as exploration classes because it's not really an intro level. It's more of the kids exploring those different electives. And so, like I said, the name will stay the same. For me, I'll have that agriculture exploration class. And then in their first year of ag, it doesn't matter what grade they are. If it's their first year in ag, they have to take my intro to ag class before they move on to any of my other courses, as you can see. So that would be introduction to agriculture industry. And then from there, they can move on to animal science, agribusiness management, marketing and leadership, or natural resources and forestry. And then once they take that animal science class, they can move on to vet science. And then also our advanced courses would be our ag work programs, trying to push those kids what they learn in the classroom, they can apply it out to whatever job or industry that they kind of enter in high school. And so we also still have our shop classes, but they're going to be organized a little differently. So we have our shop exploration. We're going to be offering a skills trades that Mason will talk about, ag mechanics, and welding. And so as you can see, woods is not included on there because that's a separate CTE department, that's constructions. And so that's a completely separate thing. So today we're just talking about the ag department specifically. And so the next page, Danae could talk about because that's her dealio.
So my courses don't change a lot. We have the Hort exploration for the DMS students, which is offered as a second semester elective for those students, and I know it's hard to keep track of now with COVID. I feel like this is the first year it's like been actually a normal course, but I think we're actually maybe on our 3rd year of trying to fly that. And then we offer horticulture every year. Not really a change, but just kind of making it more concrete with our scheduling. Mrs. Harris we're going to alternate that advanced horticulture and the floral design courses. So this year we have advanced horticulture. Next year that won't be an option for students for forecasting. It'll be the floral design course. And then the following year, floral design won't be a forecasting option. It'll be advanced horticulture. So it'll be every other year. So students who take that progression still will be able to take all 3 years of those courses. It just makes it easier for Mrs. Harris with forecasting because if we offer them all those choices at once, then it really scatters their interest and then it's really hard to keep that progression going for them. And the nice thing is we have college credit for all 3 years of those courses too, for the regular horticulture, the floral design, and advanced horticulture. So that's kind of where we're at with those courses. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be nice to be able to offer them every single year, but there's just not enough periods in our day to do that. So that's kind of how my course is. And a lot of, like what Kaylee has proposed is because with some of our funding, like our Pathways funding, if we're not showing that good progression for students that they're advancing,
then we're not getting all the funding that we could get with our courses. And so our funding for Lakeview was much smaller than like North Lake and some of the other schools because while the traditional ag program was really, you know, what everyone had for so long, it's kind of shuffled around, and what the state's wanting to see are more of these actual like career kind of pathways.
And then moving on with my courses, ag exploration is the same thing as how I've been teaching DMS ag this year. They just kind of get a tidbit of all the different pathways that is offered under me, and then they move on to intro to ag. It hasn't really changed. But it's really important for students to take that intro to ag class first because it is a foundation into FFA. And so if they take those other classes first without taking this, then they're gonna have no clue what FFA is. And then moving on, so animal sciences, vet sciences, agribusiness, natural resources, that's all that I'm gonna be covering. And if you guys notice under horticulture in the shop classes, they are also going to be doing FFA. And so technically Mason and Danae are considered FFA advisors at the state level for FFA, but it's not being recognized at the high school. And so that's something that we are discussing with Hillary in figuring out how those responsibilities will be distributed with each other. And so because technically kids that are taking Mason's construction and shop classes are considered an FFA, but it's never really been communicated that way. And so our membership in FFA will definitely double, and kids are super excited about that because I have kids that weren't able to take my classes this year because of conflicts, and they thought that they couldn't be an FFA. I'm like, well, that's not true. So we still work something out, but that's why we're kind of reevaluating that aspect too. And then you could go ahead and cover shop.
Okay, so I'm changing things up quite a bit, hopefully. So far for the middle school, it's been primarily focused on woods, but I don't think I'm doing those kids justice by just having wood projects. So my plan is to go through and give them more of a baseline, still let them turn out a couple wood projects, but take them in, do some small engine parts identification, maybe sprinkle in a little bit of electrical or plumbing, and then let them get into the welding shop. Probably not turn middle schoolers loose welding, but at least get them in there and kind of get a hook in there for them and grow that welding program. A new one I want to offer, I want to expand my impact on these kids. My expertise is definitely more in the woods areas, but what I'm hoping to implement would be more framing, more electrical, plumbing, concrete, drywalling, finished carpentry, which would be setting doors and things like that, some cabinet making, and then if time allows, let it be project based. On the ag mechanic side, I got to do a little pitch for our kids. We just got back. Our beginning team took second today, and our advanced team took fourth. So pretty proud of those kids. But instead of having two standalone welding classes, I want to move one of those to an ag mechanics where we're covering different things such as small engines, electrical, plumbing, surveying, project design, machinery, small to large, where we're going over different things that they'll see at those competitions. And then we are finally getting our plasma cutter out of the box and going. And I'm hopeful if we get everything we need in the next week or two, we will be using that this year. And then we will also have our standalone welding class where we're more in depth on the different processes of welding, and let them do more of the designs on that plasma cutter and the CAD system in there. And then that one's going to be a lot more project based, and hopefully get myself into a spot where these kids can be leaving with some certificates.
I mean, we used to crank out horse trailers and all kinds of crazy things, chutes.
Tons of buildings. BMW, we did all the concrete work, built that building down there, construction, start to finish. That's good to hear that.
Yeah, we want to get back into that where one, we're turning out kids that are more productive in the workforce if that's the route they choose, or they're able to fend for themselves and do some things on their own. And then that'll allow us to also get back into the community involvement piece.
So, and I know that it hasn't been this way in quite a while, is there an opportunity, and maybe with the way our class schedule is, and what, there's so many things that are specifically required now. You know, it used to be that there was an opportunity for a couple of those class periods to basically be blocks of 2. And I don't know if there's a way that you could pull in an ag, a ag work program. Well, they're doing those differently. So I don't know if there's a way to pull in a couple of these, be it the shop versus ag, and somehow merge them in so that they're getting enough credits, or if it matters, that they'd have enough credits that you could do a block so that you would actually have a
Some more time to
meaningful
work.
amount of time.
Like a 2-hour block.
I think this is our first step to that.
Because,
you
yeah, it's
gotta,
pretty-
you gotta get all the curriculum, like by adding that extra FFA option, the time she gets them, they can do it. Because right now the schedule's been killing kids who want to take different courses.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be our first step with it, and I think Ms. Holzman has a plan for the next few years to get there. But you're absolutely right, that's what we're looking at.
I mean,
That's
by
why
the
we're-
time you get
yeah.
your stuff out to get started, it's time to pick up and be done.
Especially on Wednesdays.
Especially Wednesday, yeah, 42
And
day.
there's gonna be like additional, like we are kind of like in the works of offering more like hands-on like lab-based stuff, and I specifically for my classes for kids to actually interact with animals, and that's definitely a discussion to have, because if we go out somewhere for 50 minutes, that's just not enough time. And so this is just a stepping stone to see the interest and see where we could go from here. But yeah, I want kids to have the opportunity to spend more time out in wherever their interest is, because 50 minutes is just not enough.
And that's why the next month we're gonna be talking about the ag farm, improvements. So
Mhm.
we're just getting this foundation here, and then we'll be ready. We wanna have that ready. So when the program catches up with the facilities ready to go.
Yeah, because I know what you're talking about there, because your senior year, you could have an elective that last
4 periods.
2-hour block was
Mhm.
either
Well,
like
and now what
construction
it
or
is
ag or
it's
something
all
like that.
work program,
And yep. And
which,
then-
I mean, is good too, but,
No, we're with you.
and it's hard by the time you get them to that work program to get
This
them to
was,
stay in a classroom.
this was a lot of work from this committee, and Hillary's led that, so it's been really great. I think we're on the right path for the future.
I like the framework on page 3 of all the different ways of getting through the program too. That looks good. And it's lots for welding to be like 3 years in a row and things like that. I think that looks really good.
Yeah, that's good, thank you. So, you guys have anything else in general to add?
Oh yeah.
On the spot?
They've all worked
Give them
really,
a month
really
after
hard
we-
on.
As we go through this, give them a month.
Well, I think that these are, and, this program in general in Lakeview is important, just in the lifestyle and where we live, and what a lot of these kids are doing. So, I think it's important that we continue to support these programs so that we can, get kids that graduate that actually have some skills.
So is the board willing to approve it?
I don't know if I can make a motion, go ahead.
I move to approve the proposed changes to the CTE agricultural program for the 22-23 school year as presented.
Second. There's been a motion and a second to approve the proposed change to the CTE Ag program for the 22-23 school year as presented. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you all, nice job.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay. Mr. Carter.
Well, May 2nd through the 6th is Teacher Appreciation. So a resolution goes, whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends on providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating programs, counseling and coaching students and performing community service, and whereas our community recognizes and supports as teachers in educating the children of this community, Now therefore be it resolved that the Lake County School District Board of Directors proclaims May 2nd through May 6th, 2022 to be Teacher Appreciation Week, and be it further resolved that Lake County School District Number 7 Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for the dedication and devotion to their work. And hopefully it was adopted today.
Okay, sounds good.
I will move to approve resolution number 5, Certified Appreciation Week, May 2nd through the 6th, 2022, as presented. The Lake County School District Number 7 Board of Directors would like to extend our thanks for the great efforts and dedicated service our certified staff provides throughout the school year. We appreciate each of you.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the resolution number 5, Certified Appreciation Week from May 2nd to May 6th, 2022, as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Oh, and now we're back to Janet.
More
This
budget stuff.
fabulous calendar.
More calendars. So basically, in the long and the short of it, I would like to have our first budget meeting on May 16th at the high school library. And then we will have a second budget meeting. Mr. Carter and I felt that we needed to get through those federal funds and really be able to explain and kind of get, a good understanding with our
Well,
budget
I
committee
think
and board.
given, all the public comment and concern about all the funds that we got in and how did we spend them, and that process probably needs to be more detailed and broke down a little more specifically. For myself also.
Well, and I told him,
And
I'll
lots
be
of other people.
honest, I said that went way too fast for me. I like to explain what's happening.
Going over, and also too, I think it's gonna answer a lot of questions.
Right.
Yes. So I think it's great. I think we owe it to the public.
Yeah, so I think that's it. And so we're gonna do that on,
So the first one would be the 16th of May, which is a Monday.
okay,
And then the May 25th is the second one, and it is a Wednesday. But with everybody's end of year calendar, it's just grab as you can kind of a
Right.
situation.
And
So,
then I'm gonna run the consecutive one on our board meeting in June.
oh
and then
yeah,
that
so
would be it.
then the adoption could be on June 15th.
okay, so,
Which the June 15th is your normal board meeting.
well, I'm just trying to follow this in chronological order here. So
Oh.
Wednesday, the 11th is just the notice. We aren't gonna do anything.
Right,
Then you
those,
come back down to our,
yeah.
okay.
The
got it.
ones that are important are the May 16th, the May 25th, and the June 15th as far as a committee together.
Okay.
The rest of that is my to-dos.
Okay,
And also too, that gives us time, I know Dr. Hartley's still there, we're gonna give him his budget, we're gonna work on that during the small conference, school conference, we'll sit down and work on that. He doesn't know that yet till now, but we wanna make sure, he has as much say in the budget as he possibly can, since he'll be having that budget, so.
okay. So I would entertain a motion.
It's there somewhere. I move to approve the budget calendar as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the budget calendar as presented. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, on to the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Motion carries. Announcements.
Well, I'd like to welcome our new student education director, Dr. Hartley, you just been hired, so welcome to Lake County School District Number 7.
All right, wonderful to be here. Been visiting a couple of times and we're just really looking forward to getting ourselves over there. So it's gonna be quite a trip. It's gonna be great.
So that's it, and the next thing I'd like to announce that we have future agenda items, we have those there, the student handbooks and the ag farm. Also, we'd like to add that we have in our safe a lot, every year, well, it's been there a long time, but Dr. Daly has some personal, items that were part of, his personal watch and some other things. And they've been borrowing those. We would like to bring it to the board at the, the next meeting and actually school district release custody of those to a museum and to his regular, as part of
Dr. Daly.
Dr. Daly's group, yeah.
Okay.
So if that's okay to add that, so we'd have three things we add till next month.
Also, I was informed that the all ed teacher, Chalice, is going to do an update. And then I caught on in my notes that Miss Warner is probably going to bring her elementary reading curriculum for approval.
And then, last but not least, I hope this works, but this is one of those, we have a partnership with our chamber, and we have out there on the 12th, in that area out there, we're gonna be having the big top coming, so we have the circus coming to town, literally the circus coming to town.
What's happening in here?
We have things set up, Susan got some schedules worked out, so we're gonna have the kids come out and watch, put up the big tent, and I'm off that day working with them, so that's what I'll be doing, so I will not be in the office, I'm pretty excited about the circus, so it's one of those things that I've enjoyed, so I just really am serious, we are bringing the circus to town, so buy some tickets, come enjoy it.
Okay, perfect. Anything else? Would you like to make a motion?
I will move to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, this one actually says I can do it. We're done.